paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Brainstorm Brewery. I'm Corbin Hostler. We got the full crew here this week at DJ, Jason, and Cass, all hanging out with you, ready to talk some Magic the Gathering and maybe in some financial news.
You don't even know what this podcast is about anymore.
This podcast, do you know what this podcast is about, Jason? What is this podcast not about?
It's not about me.
It's a podcast.
I'm not on
about
trial.
nothing.
I'm not on trial here, okay? I don't have to know what this podcast is about. You make the show notes.
Our listeners decide what the podcast is about.
No, they don't.
We do it for the fans, and the fans decided that DJ and I should be in Charlotte, North Carolina last weekend.
Oh, yeah. How'd that go?
I like Charlotte.
Charlotte was a nice city.
The Buffalo Wild Wings is walkable from the convention center.
We know
It's
that's
the
the
Buffalo
only
Wild
thing that's
Wings?
walkable from the convention center.
It's the Buffalo Wild Wings attached to the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and it f***ing whipped. It was the best beat I've ever been to, which meant it was still like a D-, but it was the best beat I've ever been to. Also, the
There you
convention center
go.
was right next to a really good French cafe that you couldn't go to, DJ, because you were working. I could go to after I scrubbed out of the RC. Speaking of which...
We talked about that last week, the RC. Shout out to Jesse Ropkin who won the thing. How'd it go for you, Cass? We talked about the crazy breach format and all of that. What was your experience?
Yeah. So on Friday, I was not qualified. I had to play the LCQs, and I told myself that I'd play them all day. I would give it my best effort. And I joined the 9:30 a.m. one, the first one, and I was 4-0, and I said, if I lose this next match, I'm not playing any more Magic this weekend. So I simply won that match. And unfortunately, I qualified for the RC that I went 3-4 in. I played against Breach in round 2, punted so bad that my opponent checked on my mental health afterwards. He was like, are you going to be okay?
Ooh.
That was against Breach. And then because I lost a match, I didn't play against Breach again the rest of my matches because the Breach players weren't losing.
There
Played
were
against Black-White
6
4 times over the next 4 rounds.
Ooh.
Split my matches there, and then lost in my 7th round at 3-3 for an elimination match against somebody who had 4 main deck Consigned Memories and 4 sideboard Obsidian Charmaz. So you could say that my tournament went about average for playing Eldrazi, which was the worst performing deck in the tournament. I picked the worst deck for the weekend.
I told you not to do that.
Well, I went 8-4 in matches on the weekend, but I won all the ones that didn't matter.
I told you not to do that also, if you'll recall.
That is true. You did tell me to win.
Eagle-eared listeners will recall last week's episode when I said, hey, don't pick the worst deck.
And this is where you flash back, JJ, in black and white, and like add a couple other snazzy effects in there to a quick 5-second flashback where Jason
Or use
tells...
AI to make it seem like I said that if I didn't say that.
I agree, JJ. You should spend like 30 minutes for this 5-second bit. That
Yeah.
sounds
It's
like
worth
a good
it.
use of, yeah.
We value your time.
That is what we have generous patrons for, of course. So go to patreon.com/BSB and make this podcast possible. Truly, we appreciate it. Had a couple people come up and say hi at the Pro Tour, well, I guess at the Magic Con, including a few patrons. So we really appreciate all of you who make the show possible at patreon.com/BSB.
I was talking to somebody from Star City, and they said at Chicago... there was one person who qualified for this RC on their 6th LCQ.
Oof. It's a lot of money.
Of the day.
LCQs cost money.
Of the day?
They're single elimination.
Yeah, they're single.
I
They
know,
run them every half
what
hour.
an LCQ is. They used to be called meat grinders because they were way more brutal than they are now.
Yes.
Whereas the first life total change determined tiebreak.
One of my friends LCQ'd in on her 4th attempt, I believe. One of my other friends played 6 LCQs and won 1 match total, I believe.
Oof.
LCQs are tough. I mean, okay. The best story of my Magic from the weekend was the round 5 of my LCQ where I played against a Burn player who clearly was just like, he plays Burn and doesn't pay that much attention because every card I played, I like cast Devourer of Destiny. I'm like, I'll exile your idol out of the Great Revel and it's a 6/6. And he just kind of squints at my card upside down and goes, that's fine. Like, he didn't know what my cards did, but
That's
like, it was mostly
me. That's
fine.
me. It's me. I would be that person.
That's a
On the
person who's
last
just like,
turn-
look, buddy, I know you haven't played Magic in 6 years, but here's my burn deck. Just aim 20 points at their face. Well, what if they play?
No.
Who gives a
Here's a vibe. In our game 2, I Emrakul Mindslaver him. He has no cards in hand. His board is Mountain Barbarian Ring. I am at 1.
Did
He
you
has
do it
8
for
cards
him?
in graveyard. He has 8 cards in graveyard. I draw for the turn that I'm Mindslavering. He draws Skullcrack. I sacrifice Barbarian Ring, targeting himself.
Yeah.
He goes to like 7 or something. And so on the extra turn that he gets, I have to fade any 1 mana burn spell and any land. He draws and flips a Searing Blaze, and I win. And it was such a sick moment. I felt so bad for the dude losing at 4-0, but also I won. So Magic is cool sometimes. And also, the RC was won by the best competitor in the room by a lot. Jesse Robb, Champion of the People, Inventor of Underworld Breach.
And 6 Breach decks in the top 8. Also, shout out to Corey Burkhart making the finals.
Yeah.
Should we blame her for this breach bull? Congratulations for winning the tournament and ruining Modern.
Yeah, Corey is a longtime PT player who, before the pandemic, was...
I didn't mean Corey, I meant...
Yeah, I know. I was just, for people who don't know, he's a longtime PT player who was on a quest to get a trophy before the pandemic. Sort of like one of the, real good guys of the PT was always...
Wasn't he a guest on this podcast at one point?
I think it's possible he was on here at one point. But he did end up, he won the Players Tour in Phoenix right before everything shut down. And he's back on the PT, going to be at Worlds.
It's also very fitting that Jesse Robkin won the last real tournament where Breach is going to be legal. It's only fitting.
When he has the BNR coming up?
It's on the 31st of the month.
On the last day.
I would say there may or may not be another RC before then, but this will be the biggest one by far.
Sure.
So
of any tournament left.
I interacted with a lot of Modern players over the weekend, and roughly 50% said Opal needs to go again. 50% said Breach needs to go again. A couple people said Ketramos, and I know they're probably wrong.
Anybody who says anything other than Breach is wrong.
I agree. Mox Opal did nothing wrong.
It doesn't matter if Mox Opal needs to go. It's not going to. So even if you believe that, it doesn't matter. It's not going to.
Not now. They said that they specifically said we are going to keep an eye on these cards we're unbanning with a eye towards trying to keep finding ways to keep them legal. Like they said that. Breach is obviously the problem. Yeah. No, it's been the problem. It's just an easy slam dunk ban.
I've been thinking a lot about pillars of the format for Modern.
Yes.
So Modern right now feels like Legacy did 10 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Legacy is cool because it's the format where you can play with Brainstorm in Days. They've banned so many cards to let you play with Days.
I stand by the thing of they can't ban cards in Legacy that were printed pre 9/11.
I think that's by and large true. I think the only card I would ever consider off of that list is Entomb, because that card feels like it's going to be a real problem eventually. Besides that, I mostly agree. And I think with Modern, it's so hard for a card to be strong enough to clear the power level of a card that is playable for a decade straight. Mm-hmm. And Mox Opal, Green Sun, and Faithless Looting were all incredible choices to unban because that is what they do.
Yeah.
Faithless Looting is the best rate we'll ever get for that effect.
Engines.
Yes.
Yep.
You want to know when Odyssey was printed?
Was it post 9/11?
It was October 2001. It
You know
used
what?
the cut.
Ban it right now.
That's really funny.
The towers fell and Entomb was safe.
I should know that. My first set was Torment.
That's really funny. No, you're completely right, Cass. In those cards.
9/11 changed everything. I'm not surprised you forgot what Magic set was legal when you lost your rights.
Those cards are all engines, right? Green Sun's only going to be as good as your best, as good as the creatures you need.
They're all enablers.
Looting. Sorry, sure. I guess that's what I mean in this sense. Then, right? They are tools to a deck. They are not the payoff for the deck.
And Days and Brainstorm are very much the same way in Legacy, same in Ancient Tomb. They enable you to do the cool thing.
Yeah, and then big mana is now that, and this is something I think they very purposefully have been trying to get to, right? Like they wanted Eldrazi to be a part of the format and to be the big mana deck, like Tron is or was or whatever, right? Those are kind of like, okay, like very often, combined or whatever. Then obviously they have aggro stuff. Obviously combo is going to exist, but they just took away everything people like to do with their Mox Opal decks, and eventually the format for a while, okay, well, it's about grief and it's about grief interactions and playing around that. And then that was gone. And it's like, even if you like Modern, even if you individually are on board with all the ban changes, the format lost a lot of its identity, especially once grief went. Like once the Modern Horizons 2 Band-Aid was peeled off, it was kind of like, whatever is left over is the thing, and then it just became Modern Horizons 3 the format.
95% of the black-white deck is just cards printed in the past year or two.
Plus Flicker Wisp, which is truly charming.
The cool thing about the black-white deck, though, is that it is
If you say Aether Vial,
the whole is
not playable.
The whole
but I thought Corbin would think it would.
No. The whole is more than
Aether Vial not playable.
It's when I played against that when I played against that deck like a couple months ago, testing with a friend, I played a bunch of games against it, and my conclusion then was that Vial was like the one drop I was least scared of. It also just means it's one less card that does something, because basically we're going to have to run them out of cards anyway. So the Vial helps you in that. It's the sole reason if you play Vial against like Jund or whatever, you board it out anyway in the old days. But so that's the point. That deck is really good, but it's also just a collection of cards, right? It's not Boros energy handed down to us from Modern Horizons 3. It's not Eldrazi the Edict by Wizards of the Coast. It's a collection of random magic cards that come together to do hate bear things.
Right. Honestly, the coolest things about that deck are things involving just like generically good white cards. Like the Ephemerate Solitude stuff obviously is very Modern Horizons-y.
Yeah.
But like one of the matches I lost to Black White, my opponent kept attacking with Philia, flickering their Flicker Wisp, so to come back on their own instep to exile my land during my turn, and like that sucked personally, but it was cool from a gameplay perspective.
Yeah, get Russian imported.
Speaking of cool plays, one more thing on the RC, I played against Merfolk in round 4, Corbin, and I beat them by casting Sowing Michael's Spawn, exiling my own land that had been turned into an island, so they couldn't island walk over me.
Yeah, that's a good play. I've been tearing it up. My record is 27-4 in historic with Merfolk. I decided to get on the arena bug again this month, and I've been going very hard on limited. I did the I've never done this before. I entered the arena direct win-a-box thing after everyone was complaining about it on Twitter, because gasp, Wizards taxes you at the legally required rate.
Those bastards.
Yeah,
Weird.
Terrible.
There's no more IRS. Why are we paying taxes?
I did 2 of those events, and I went 5-2 in each. Sadly, you need 6 wins to get the 2 boxes.
Ha! Eat farts.
I did get my entry. I got my entry back on both. Like, it's a 5,000 gem entry, which is, I don't know, $20 or $30 each. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's $25 even if when you buy the $100 at a time, it's $25. So I got my entry fee back. So technically, I guess I profited the picks I made in the drafts. But man, I was so close in those last games of getting the boxes.
So you profited those draft picks. What was your hourly?
Well, it was that or TFT, so I don't.
Yeah, he was playing Magic, dog, not like working a job.
Yeah, bro, like it was that or TFT.
Tournament.
Like I took an edible and I played a video game.
Every time I go to a Magic tournament, I ask myself, "What's my hourly?" Then
What's
I remember,
my
like,
hourly?
playing Magic or smoking crack.
Yeah,
I'm like, honestly,
when I pick the kids up
Magic's
from
great.
school and the line is going slow, I'm like, "What's my hourly?"
I'm losing $10 a minute.
When I'm in the self-checkout line scanning my own, what's my hourly?
Honestly,
Well,
though, that one.
honestly,
what's the best sequel of all time?
the best sequel of all time is Terminator 2. I don't even necessarily agree. It's just like it's just
I was going to say it's the second coming of our Lord and Savior.
I think it's Aliens, but I think it's very close. Terminator 2 is very close.
Our Lord and Savior is Silver Grado.
But like Alien was the better movie of the two, whereas Terminator 2 was much, much better than Terminator 1.
So I think
Terminator
I'm
2
talking about the concept of a sequel. I think Aliens, built on Aliens so well, it is a great, it's a totally different movie. It's a totally different vibe, but it still builds on it perfectly, and that to me makes it a better sequel. I think Terminator 2 is a better movie. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. I'm trying
Can I submit my answer for this?
Yes.
Corbin and Jason won't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn.
Did he just say a video game?
He said
It's a Fire
Wii
Emblem
video game.
Shut up.
And you know what? I've heard good things. And
by
Shrek 2
sequel,
is
do you mean
also a great
direct sequel? Because like, could a third installment?
Super Mario Brothers.
So it has to be
It's a
the
sequel to
second movie
Jumpman.
after the first one.
Yeah, a trilogy I'm not willing to fuck
Corbin,
with. at all.
is a Fire Emblem sequel not a sequel? She didn't say movie.
I didn't say film. I meant film, but I didn't say film.
Okay.
And that's the exact kind of gotcha-ism that you jerk off to in Hacked in
It's
Second
true.
Life or whatever.
Ooh, it's true. You just got Corbin and you hated how it tasted.
You just got
I
Corbin,
didn't
bro.
get Corbin in this scenario.
Corbin got Corbin.
Casted.
What?
I'm
No!
simply
No!
an observer. I'm
He
simply
doesn't-
watching it.
Leave
I'm
it to
enjoying
Corbin
myself.
to
How
not
did I
know
get
what
in
getting
Corbin?
Corbin means.
To get Corbin, you have to be mad. Why you have to be mad? It's only podcast.
It's only podcast.
I was trying to think of an answer here.
Are
to
the
do
wings
this
supposed to
question.
be dry, you
I'm just.
Maybe like
Hey, listen, maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I've been ordering wings wrong my whole life. Could you tell me if
Jason,
when I ordered the
Jason,
sauce?
I'm
Jason,
talking
we
about
need
the
to explain
sequel.
the story to Cass.
I'm talking
I
about
don't
the
have to
sequel
know this.
question.
I could live my life not knowing this.
Well, if listeners don't know what we're talking about, if you get access to the Historic After Hours, you can hear when Corbin was ordering wings from, I think it was Domino's, maybe?
It's always B-dubs.
It was Domino's.
And they were delivered, and he's like, hang on, and we were
On
on
the
the
call,
call with
like
him,
he's on
and
the
he picked
call
up
with
his
us.
phone. Yeah, while he was on a call with us, he picks up his phone, and he calls their, like, customer service. He's like, hey, I just got a quick question. I ordered these wings, were they supposed to be dry with no sauce on them? I want to know. I want to make sure I didn't order them wrong. Was the sauce supposed to come on the side? And they're like, we're so sorry. We didn't put the sauce on the wings. We put it on the side.
They're mischaracterizing me, verifying that I had the order right and I wasn't complaining incorrectly.
Those wings were fucking unsauced, buddy.
Yeah. You knew what you were
I
There
doing.
was no
man
sauce
sauce
at all.
wings.
Like, it was just a wrong order, but I wanted to make sure
No.
that we ordered it correctly.
I just want to make sure
That
I
story's
didn't mess
pretty
up
funny,
here.
though.
I just
understand.
want to make sure I did it right. Did I accidentally order the wings wrong like a complete asshole would order them? I didn't, right?
Does
just my
anybody
sanity
actually
check.
order dry wings? Like, are you putting your own sauce in them at home?
I mean, it's an option to order them. I don't know.
I feel like if you're ordering Domino's wings, you're not making your own sauce at home.
I mean, I think I agree. But
I feel like
Yeah.
if you're ordering Domino's
maybe you want dry wings. Maybe you want dry wings and just to dip them in ranch. I don't.
Okay, that's gross, but like I can see someone doing that.
Yeah. Like,
That's not that gross. Dipping wings in ranch?
there you go.
Plain dry wings. I feel like
Found the
that's
guy.
like
Found the guy. It's not what I would order from Domino's with a
Yeah.
plan to do, but like again,
Support your local pizza place. That's the answer.
one of the
Yeah.
best things to put on wings.
Get local pizza.
You make your own wings at home. You bake them or you fry them. Either way, do the Kenji Lopez baking method if you want. You put sugar and fish sauce in a pan, and you make a caramel out of it, and you toss your wings in that. Fish sauce caramel goes crazy.
Wow,
It's so
really?
good.
Because
It's super savory. It's super salty. It's super sweet.
I've been making my own like half teriyaki with like mirin and hoisin.
That's good
That
too.
sounds way
That's
better.
good too. But fish sauce caramel is the way to do it.
what is
IMO.
fish sauce?
Fish
It's
sauce
called
is,
fish
you know,
sauce.
They make soy sauce by putting a bunch of like soybeans and salting them and letting the drippings come out. That's soy sauce. It's
Corbin.
the same thing, but it's fish.
Have you ever seen
And
the
so-
hydraulic press video? They just take a bunch of fish and just...
And they sauce
So
them.
Liquefy 'em.
fish sauce, it smells kind of like feet, but it
Yeah.
tastes just like pure savory meat flavor. And when you cook it with something, it loses that smell, and it's got a lot of glutamates in it, and I think it also has isonanates. Like it's just pure savory flavor molecules.
It's umami
Almost
for
everything
days.
you've ever eaten that's Vietnamese food or
Nothing.
like most Asian cuisines use it. Thai cuisine uses it.
Nothing.
You don't eat pho?
No.
Jeez.
Corbin's just never.
Hey son, this is completely unrelated topic change. My husband just texted me. What if we get really into hockey when we get to Seattle? Their team is the Kraken. How cool is that?
It's the best. You should
Marianne
do
How's
was
that
in
make you
Seattle
feel?
last week, and she liked all the hockey stuff.
Like,
It's pretty
I'm gonna
cool.
go to a Kraken game with your husband.
Okay, that's fine. It's
You
a
don't have
Cucks
to go
night
if you
out.
don't want to. Yeah.
You know, so Marianne was in Seattle last week. They have a lot of Kraken gear, as you would expect, which I encouraged her to get something of because it's cool. They got a good logo. They also have a shit ton of Supersonics gear.
The team's gonna come back.
We stole that team in 2008.
Well, they're gonna get it back, just like the Browns got moved to Baltimore, and then they got the Browns back. Maybe they'll just
they
get the
They
Sonics
do
back.
have. What you're saying is that the rights to the logo and the name and the records are all still in Seattle, which is true. Oklahoma City left them behind when we stole their franchise in 2008. But Marianne, when she was there, she was like, I thought maybe it was just like old merchandise at first. But then I realized that no, the Thunder have been here a long time. They're making new merchandise for a team that doesn't exist. And I was like, yeah, I bet it
They
fucking
make new
sells
Hartford
like hotcakes.
Whalers merchandise too. Like, it's,
Well, that shit's cool. I love a good Hartford Whaler.
they
Not
know
as much
that
as the Quebec.
they know they're not getting a team before like.
Wait, doesn't Hartford Whalers exist?
Yeah, they're the Carolina Hurricanes now.
But like, okay, I thought they brought a team back. There was one of those.
No,
hockey
the
teams that got-
Hurricanes wore the Whalers jersey on throwback night. Is what they did.
No, okay, I thought there was a Canadian team or something that like disappeared and then came back. Like the
That
team-
happened twice. The Ottawa Senators did that, and the Winnipeg Jets did that.
The Jets, yeah, the Winnipeg Jets is what I was thinking of. I'm hoping the Quebec Nordiques come back. It was always my favorite.
The
team name.
Quebec.
Quebec City. They want their team. Yeah,
You
that
can
would
call
be
it-
cool.
You can call it Quebec if you want.
Honestly, you could put four
local.
NHL teams in Toronto. You could. There's like
Yeah.
basically 4 teams in New York City.
That's true.
Yeah.
So like,
What's the fourth?
huh?
What are the four?
What was
Fourth
I?
would-
Oh, the Islanders, the Rangers, the Devils, and then
The
the
fourth is-
Sabres. I guess.
I wondered if you were counting the Sabres.
I was gonna say your Buffalo's a few,
Sabres are closer to Canada than they are to New York City, but yeah.
by like 8-hour drive by like a lot.
But also like, Boston's got a team. There's like a lot of teams in there, and like a 1 hour.
Buffalo is basically
bus
Toronto's
ride
team.
versus like if you're Chicago or if you're like Chicago's the farthest east Western Conference team, and you're playing like Vancouver. That's a mother of a plane ride. It's not. There's no parity. It's bull.
Does Phoenix have a team? Did they kill that franchise?
Yeah, Phoenix moved to Utah.
Oh, and they're the Utah Hockey Club.
They're the
huh?
Utah Hockey Club now.
Is that the name they picked? I remember the vote. Is that
No,
what they?
So
it's,
they kicked the can down the road. They're like, we'll just use this as a placeholder name, and then we'll do like a fan vote in the off season. But it's looking like they can't get some of the names they wanted for like
Bro,
Jason,
cyber squatting reasons. So it'll be
Jason,
weird.
can I make a joke that's really, really mean to you, but it's really funny, and I don't actually mean it in a bad way. I just want to know that you'll be friends with me afterwards.
That's fine. Yeah, that's always
This hockey
acceptable.
conversation has me totally lost. Is this what you feel like when we talk about Magic Finance?
Yeah. No, because you didn't understand hockey 2 years ago.
Oh no, it's so much worse. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. I don't care. I don't pay attention
I-
anymore. I've
this
tried
is
to
a
quit
hot-
this podcast so many times. You're bullying me by keeping me here, not by implying
true.
I shouldn't be.
It's true. We hold this podcast together via bullying.
Yeah.
This is a hot take. I think they should keep the Utah Hockey Club name. I thought that the Washington Commanders should have kept the Washington Football Club or football team name because it was like nation's capital.
I think
like
we shouldn't do
Washington
anything
football
like
team.
they do in England.
Well, speaking of, dude, I had this realization the other day. Did you know the stupid soccer teams in the United States, they all have FC at the end of their names, right? And this is a thing they do in like international soccer, where they all have FC. And eventually, in the not too distant past, I realized it stood for football club. And then I realized stupidest thing I've ever heard that the soccer teams in the United States call themselves like the Seattle whatever football club. You're not a football club. You're a soccer team in the Major League Soccer trademark professional soccer league.
This is a weird hill for you to die on, man.
I just had this thought the other day, man. You scratched the surface and you didn't realize that beneath it I have lots of irrelevant, pointless, some might say downright unhinged sports takes ready to go.
And my breaking bulk is from Unhinged. Is that, did I finish your sentence?
Naming conventions, I got lots of feelings on them. Just like I have lots of feelings about my breaking bulk, which is not from Unhinged.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
It's time for breaking bulk.
Is it not from Unhinged, or are you audibling right now?
I'm making up one for the first time right now, so it's not an audible.
Are you getting paid by the mile when you segue?
It's just a play call.
My breaking bulk this week is an Aether Drift Black Uncommon.
Momentum.
Yeah, it's momentum breaker. Whatever, it's fine. It's not hard to
Card's
guess.
sweet. Yeah, card's sweet.
Yeah,
Card
I
is
agree. It
played
was super. I would have. I would have.
I played the shit out of Aether Drift Limited.
Card is playable in vintage.
Tip of my tongue.
DJ's
Also
doing all the
very
Aether
good
Drift Limited.
Beat me
with
to
me,
it
yeah.
by just a femtosecond. It was a photo finish.
Is photo
is
finish another
standard-
card from Aether Drift?
That's not my breaking bulk, if that's what you're asking.
It would be. Go ahead, Cass.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. It's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Uh-oh. It's not fine,
Momentum
guys.
Breaker is playable in standard and vintage, apparently. It's also 30 cents on a buy list.
I'll hop in. As I'm an expert guesser, I will now be an expert clue poser. I have a colorless uncommon from Modern Horizons 2.
Is it
Fun?
versus Cave?
No. Colorless. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I meant multicolored. Scratch
Goblin
that.
and
Reverse it.
Narcomancer?
It is a Narcomancer. Good call, because that's actually the only gosh, I'm all over the place. Multicolored uncommon worth any money in that set. Fun fact.
MH3 is so stacked with uncommons compared to MH2.
Oh, you said
There's
MH2 versus Cave isn't even in that set. Yikes.
MH3 has the benefit of all the MDFCs being meaningfully more rare than relative to other uncommons, but even then, there's still like non-MDF. Like Consigned to Memory is like $7. It's also maybe the best sideboard card ever, but that's beside the point.
Yeah. I don't have an MDFC, but I do have a kind of recent one. This Murders at Karlov Manor gold card is on the buy list at Card Kingdom for 75 cents.
Is it
98
the black
if you want
green
credit.
plant one?
Insidious Roots.
Maybe. Yeah, it sure is. But this has gotten a reprint, and it has like a special treatment, and it's still like a buck on a buy list card. It's fucking bug nutty. So maybe it's a little bit... Okay, so if it's so obvious to everyone in this cast, how come I'm still getting these in bulk? I guess is what I want to ask.
Hey, listen, we're savvy. Our listeners,
We're built
savvy. The point of breaking bulk is that you can be savvy. You can be just like the people on this cast. We're trendsetters. We're picking Insidious Roots from bulk.
Please,
the schmucks out there, they're not.
Please
Don't
don't
be a
pick...
schmuck.
Standard. Yeah, it's a big standard card. So
Don't be a
lot of
schmuck.
people-
But if you're a schmuck, continue to sell bulk to me.
Yeah. My pick of the week is don't be a schmuck.
Ooh. A lot of people who don't play standard are not going to know that this is not bulk.
Yep.
My pick of the week is make good financial decisions and don't make no bad ones.
Bold.
Does that help?
Brave even.
All right, 3 out of the 4 breaking bulks have been guessed basically immediately, so it's up to me to save the day here. I have a let me check the set on this again real quick.
Oh, we're so.
You're gonna make it up.
This is a regular Magic card. Okay, I have the set right. All right, so this is a Commander 2017 blue uncommon.
Keep going.
What decks were 2017?
Kindred. So dragons, vampires, cats, and
Is this the one that
wizards.
has like if you control your commander, do something each
No,
turn?
it is not part of that cycle. It is not a creature either.
That was okay. Blue uncommon, so it's
It
Gotta be a
has been
wizard
dragon.
card.
It has been put in a couple other commander precons as well.
Could be dragon or wizard. Blue uncommon.
The fact that it's an uncommon means it's in multiple decks.
So you're not.
DJ, can you explain that while we think?
So, this is how precons used to work. I don't know if they still do this way because of how weird precons are, but
They
like,
don't anymore.
yeah, like when there was a cycle of 4 or 5 decks, a common meant it was in every precon, an uncommon meant it was in a couple precons, and a rare meant it was in one precon.
Or it was
did not know
eligible
that.
at least. Like
Yeah.
you didn't always do it, but like
I don't think
yeah.
that works anymore, but yeah, this is a Commander 2017 blue uncommon non-creature. I'll give you enchantment too.
Coastal piracy?
Curse of Verbosity.
It is Curse of Verbosity.
Oh, really? Nice one.
Curse of Verbosity is a 3-mana enchant
Might be
aura,
verbosity,
enchant
but-
player. Whenever enchanted player is attacked, you draw a card. Each opponent attacking that player is the same. So you put it on somebody and then encourage that person to get just kicked into the dirt while you load up on cards. It was also in Forgotten Realms Commander and Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate.
Yeah,
and
that's wild. That's
it's
a
in
lot
Mystery
of
Booster
printing.
2, and it's still above 50 cents. The Forgotten Realms Commander 1 is 71 cents, and you can get a direct premium of $1 at least. So this card...
These are $25 on TCG Player Direct.
I play this in my Ronnie Go deck, my forced combat Grixis deck.
Yeah,
That's
and
pretty sweet.
there's also an actual curse commander nowadays that just is going to default.
Are you talking about Lind?
I think so.
I took the deck used to be Lind, and I took it apart and turned it into the Ronnie because Lind is a broken, it doesn't work. The thing it asks you to do is to get your enchantments into a graveyard via a particular way so that they'll then come back in a weird way and you'll draw extra cards. It's not good. Curses, by the way, could use a real commander if they go back to
That's
that
so
level
boring
anytime
though,
soon.
because there's no way to do it that isn't just when you would curse instead.
Yeah, I don't know. The Lind is. I'm not knocking the attempt. Let me read it real quick for people because
Honestly,
it is interesting.
if they could do a decent attempt at Gen, like being a way
Yeah,
to
so-
cycle through the enchantments you have on players or something like that, if they could do
Yeah.
a good Gen, that would be a good curse commander.
So
But they'll never do
Lind
Gen
is
well.
a 2/4 for 4 Death Touch. Whenever a curse is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, return it to the battlefield attached to you at the beginning of the next end step. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may attach a curse attached to you to one of your opponents if you do draw 2 cards.
I think
so.
That's really
if someone
cool.
kills your curse on their turn, it comes back attached to you, but you then have to untap with Lind to give it back to them to draw a card. To draw cards, you just end up with all your curses attached to yourself. I don't understand what happened there.
There's some
you play extra
donatey
upkeeps?
bizarre trader
Yeah,
nonsense.
I know. I've played. I had the deck, and the experience was I ended up with my curses attached to myself, and I turned it into a different deck. But if they ever do go back to curses and make a good curse commander, all those cards will pop because there are a lot of cards like Curse of Verbosity that are really good in a curse deck.
And they're also
They're really good outside of a curse deck, honestly.
Yeah.
And they're very low. Not all of them. I mean, Verbosity was in CLB, so it's reasonably supplied. But a lot of them have relatively low supply because they are Curse of whatever in just one precon from a while ago, and it's just a weird thing.
Yeah.
There's
some
the
sweet
treasure
ones.
one spiked to $8 at one point a while back.
There's one that makes a player draw an extra card in their upkeep, but then at the end of their turn they discard their hand, and you can slam that on yourself late for extra cards, or slam
That's
it
just
on
a
someone
grafted
else,
skull cap.
or you slam it on someone else early to knock out their hand. It's fun. There's a lot of fun curses.
There's a curse of grafted skull cap. What the?
If that's what that card does, then
Got
yeah.
5 or 6 mana or something.
It's 4, I think.
That's
It's a fun curse. Like I said, it's a fun deck. Yes, it is a grafted skull cap.
I just like goat. I think people don't like to attack each other. You know, people roll the dice, and people make fun of people for rolling the dice, or like, don't be a coward. But it's like anything to encourage people to attack. Curses and goading just shave turns off of a game, and every turn is like 5 minutes. So if you shave a whole turn cycle, you just like ended a game 20 minutes faster because people didn't just look at a blocker. You know, I got 2 attackers, I got 2 blockers. I'm not swinging. There's so much damage that could be dealt early in a game of Magic that people don't deal because they don't want their utility creatures to die. That's why goading is great. You don't let them do a bunch of bull with mana dorks and utility creatures. Yeah. And you also like
make
people
like to
actually engage in some combat and like have some creatures die.
Yeah, I think people keep their their 2/2s or their 2/1s that ramped them or whatever. They look at a board and say, okay, I can do something with it, but I don't want anyone to attack me. Or everyone's like, what if there's a haste creature that's going to... And they keep their blockers back because what's the point of doing 1 damage and pissing someone off when they're at 38 or whatever?
Yeah.
But then you get later in the game and combat's like, okay, well, everyone is between 35 and 40. What's even the point, Whereas if people are at somewhere between 20 and 30 instead, you get a little more variability. So... I don't know.
That's why I think Sulfuric Vortex is the perfect Magic card for a game of EDH.
Descent into Avernus is better.
Oh, well, I play that too. I love Descent into Avernus.
1 turn cycle of this conversation has also been 5 minutes, so let's get to Pick of the Week.
Pick of the Week.
Pick of the Week. Pick of the Week. Pick of the Week. Time for the Pick of the Week.
I'm picking my week. It's the first week of May. Every year, the first week of May is quite a nice week.
That's my
the
son's
weather's a little warm, but it's not summery. Yeah, my allergies are bad, so it's not the perfect week. It's a good one to stay inside, stay in the AC, maybe sit on the porch a bit, drink some lemonade. Not quite summer.
I think that's also the perfect birthday, according to Smarty Pants.
That is my
actually. I believe that's
pick of the week jokes on the podcast. Of all the week jokes on the podcast, that was my favorite. That is my pick of the week.
Okay.
I like Orphan of the Week, if we're talking about picks of the week.
Pick is the opposite of an orphan? What does that mean?
My pick of the week.
It was the Magic card with the name Wheat in it I could think of.
Oh. My pick of the week is 3 Tree City from Bloomborough. It's $25. That's expensive. The first set of next year is Return to Lorwyn.
Yeah.
How expensive do you think this card gets then?
40.
Get your copies of it now. I'm not saying go buy a 1 row of these. No one can afford that. That's too expensive. That's too much. Buy 4 of them if you want to play Standard. Maybe. Buy 1. Buy a foil showcase one.
Yeah.
Buy a Japanese foil showcase copy so you can make your friends feel poor. Do whatever you want. But buy a 3 Tree City. That's all I'm saying.
And if we're going to go back to Chicago next year for the Magic Fest, you're going to want a Tree City. I can see that hitting $33.
I'm going to boot you from the call, Jason.
You going to boot me from the call?
I do fully expect this card's price graph to just overlap with Cavern of Souls in like 2012 through 2016. Yep. Cavern hit 50, 60, 70. If they don't reprint this, which I don't think they will in the next year or two, I think this card will get very expensive, and you should probably focus on just either the base version or the best one. Don't middle with the autumn foil or whatever. Just I think the winter foil is the most rare. Just get winter foil or base version, I think.
I think the autumn foil is the prettiest.
Get all the foils.
I meant no critique against the autumn one specifically.
Actually, technically, the spring foil would be the one you'd want if you were doing May, the first week of May.
That's very true.
Mm-hmm. So May 1st is the first day outdoor, and that's a springtime activity.
Oh,
Jesus Christ, Corbin! What is going on at your house?
Leo's pulling out his Mac track.
JJ, just keep all this audio in. This is so choice.
Did he do something to your mute button?
Leo, what you doing? I didn't realize you guys were hearing it. I'll mute it. Leo, that wasn't helpful.
No, dude, we're not mad at him. We're mad at you for not just muting your mic, you ding dong.
Corbin, I thought you were the one with the flaccid exit today.
Huh? I said it was. Well, it's like 10 minutes from now.
It's getting
but
softer by the minute.
Well, it's 10 minutes from now, but we're in pick of the week, so we're doing all right.
I was just joking. I just wanted to say flaccid exit.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Fucking
I had to
no,
rotate
not
the
me.
camera for a bit.
Blair Witch Trials camera management over here.
The Blair
Found
Witch
footage
Trials?
podcast.
Blair
No.
Witch Trial.
Now that is the best sequel.
That would be great.
I knew it was wrong, but I said
The
it
Blair
anyway.
Witch Trials?
I was like, I don't
That
remember what it is,
would
and I'm not
be
going to spend the
great.
time typing it to find out what the name of the movie was, so I'm just going to send it anyway, and it's going to become a meme.
It was a callback.
Yeah, my
All
favorite
right.
movie was the Chicago 7.
My pick of the week are the RuneFest 2025 Magic Log cards.
Get the fuck out of here.
God.
You knew this was
This
coming.
is such a bad bit, though.
You should have known this was coming.
We did. Every time somebody holds up a non-magic card, it just
Jason,
it makes people sad.
Jason, I want you to know that my favorite sports show, they spend just as much time arguing about whether their bits are funny on air as we do.
Yeah, but none of them are funny because they're on ESPN.
No, they're on FS1 and they're very funny. Look at what Cass has got. Cass has oversized physical props for you. Are you not entertained?
I mean,
This is
I'm
my favorite
impressed
card
that-
from Duskmorn because it
Favorite's
reminds
great.
me of The Thing by director John Carpenter.
I haven't seen that art either. That's cool.
Yeah, it's sick as hell. Siddharth Chaturvedi, I think is how you pronounce his name. Great artist.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking
Big
neat.
fan. Won this in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Doing what?
The
Playing
Huntwood
Magic,
Sugar.
winning.
Oh,
That
Winning.
8-4 record.
I thought you played
Hashtag
Mumbling Peg or some
winning,
shit.
Jason.
Something
And then-
unhinged.
And then I did not give anybody money for their prize wall tickets, but I did promise them sexual favors for them.
That's allowed. I
That's
think you just
allowed.
invented the newest profession.
Might be illegal, but it's allowed. As opposed to the other thing, which is legal, but
Allegedly
not
in
allowed.
Minecraft and in Second Life.
I do have a real pick of the week. I just picked up those RuneFest cards because I was in the UK last week for RuneFest. I was very happy and wanted to share them.
Well, I already wrote in the spreadsheet that patrons have access to at patreon.com/BSD. I wrote RuneScape. Do I need to delete that and write something else?
yeah,
No.
you need to
Keep
delete
that, add
that.
another line.
Delete it and write Silver Shroud costume from
That
Fallout.
card's good, yeah.
I don't understand how this card was ever under $50. Have you read Silver Shroud Costume?
I have not. I'm working on it right now.
It's good.
It's a 2-mana artifact equipment with flash, and when it enters the battlefield, it just automatically attaches to a creature you control, and that creature gains Shroud until end of the turn, and the equipped creature cannot be blocked. So it is just Whisper Silk Cloak, just 1,000 times better. It's
What
an
if Whisper
automatic-
Silk Cloak was a counterspell?
People
Yeah.
forgot that they played Whisper Silk Cloak.
And-
Like Whisper
And the
Silk
search foil
Cloak
is like $50.
Whisper Silk Cloak
All
was
the
a
Fallout
crazy
stuff
popular.
is I wouldn't be surprised if every Fallout card f***ing tripled in 2 years. Like it's just
Yeah, they've all gone nuts. But
So
that's
Fallout booster packs or Fallout booster boxes are approaching $1,000.
for the collect. Yeah,
And Silver Shroud costume is an equipment which happens to you're gonna want to put equipments on Cloud because Cloud cares about equipment from Final Fantasy, and you're gonna want to stack his power up a lot. And people who are learning Commander through Final Fantasy are gonna read a little line of rules text that says if you 21 them, they die. And people will want to do that with Cloud. They'll want to hit 21 with an Omni
they'll want to
Slash
Omni Slash him. Yeah.
and bonk him on the head. And Silver Shroud costume is by far the best equipment to make a creature unblockable. And you should buy this at $7 to $8 because it will be 15 or 20. Because
Yeah.
when are they reprinting it?
Well, people forgot that they played Whisper Silk Cloak.
Why don't
like
you
that?
just- yeah,
that
yeah,
effect was
exactly.
popular. That effect was popular, but it got power creeped out of Commander so entirely that all the players who picked up Commander in the past 6 or 7 years at this point didn't realize that was just a thing you could do, and so this is that only, as you said, infinitely better, and a whole bunch of people are realizing that wait a minute, this is
Yeah.
actually how I like to play Magic.
Well,
I will
Legacy
add the
players were
caveat.
on this.
I will add the caveat that new Magic players should learn that if you put this on Cloud, you cannot put other equipment on him because Shroud means that you cannot target him with equip abilities either. So you do want to save this for the end.
The last one, yeah.
But or unless you have some ability to like maneuver your equipments around for 0 cost.
I'm just
you can move them
imagining
off and then
Cloud
on.
in the Omni Slash animation, like whipping out all these swords, and then the last thing he does is put on the goddamn Silver Shroud costume and tell Sephiroth that his sins are about to be punished.
All right, I'll hop in next. You mentioned Lorwyn earlier. Speaking of Lorwyn, did you all realize that Imperious Perfect has been bought out? Like, the Lorwyn copy of Imperious Perfect is like $5 again.
Again, Nature is Healing?
Isn't that card in
OG
standard
Breaking
right
Bolt
now?
card?
Yeah, it really is the OG Breaking Bolt card. And now the other versions are not as much, so this is probably...
Isn't it in standard? It's in Foundations as like a starter collection card.
Yes.
Oh,
So it's
sick.
like... There's
so
no
that's
reason
why
for it
the
to be that
OG
much.
version's getting bought out because
Right.
it's yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we've
There's
seen a
also
lot
the
of...
Champs promo for like $10? Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Those would be some hot cards to roll up to F&M with.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that all the versions of it, even the
there are
like, ones
sexy
that are still
Llanowar elves
bulk,
you could play in standard too. There's like
even the
Marwyn?
ones...
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
even
Okay.
even the Imperious Perfects that are bulk have like gone from actual bulk to like 50, 75 cents, and
Oh,
the
this
good
makes me
versions
so
have all
happy.
been going up as well. I thought it
Nature
would,
is
right?
Healing.
So Lorwyn is coming back next year. Nature is Healing. We've got all of the creature type stuff that's going to be coming back. And you mentioned it earlier, DJ. Commander 2017 has the Kindred cycle. For instance, Kindred Discovery was the one I was looking at this week. But the whole cycle is Kindred Discovery enters the battlefield, choose a creature type for 5 mana. Whenever creature you control the choice type enters the battlefield, draw a card. Definitely been a couple reprints of it. But all of the reprints of Kindred Discovery are worth at least $5 and probably going to be worth $10.
What's the second most? Does Kindred Dominance probably?
I think
the
it's the
black
red one.
The red one.
Oh, we should play that game again.
Yeah, maybe next week.
That's a good game. I missed that game.
Yeah, forget about that
Yeah.
one.
I'm gonna steal that game and put it on Twitch.
Okay.
You guys should come on and play it.
Sounds great.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll bring that one back next week. That was fun. But yeah, so the whole cycle here, but Kindred Discovery is the one I was really eyeing.
Superlative.
All right,
I'll
Jason.
go real fast.
Yeah, wrap it up.
Iridescent Vine Lasher answers the question: what if Spitfire Legac could reproduce asexually?
I'm always asking, honestly.
My Google search history, you wouldn't believe.
You would not believe.
Some of those words are in my spit and fire. Iridescent Vine Lasher is a profoundly magic card to be costing $1. And there are good versions of this, like the extended border. All versions of this card are very good. I doubt it gets reprinted, like, ever. So this is just going to be a landfall card that you will never not play if you have black in the deck. They're giving us a Jund like precon that's going to be landfally next year, probably a Lord Windgrace type dealy. So this won't be in that, I'm sure, and this will be in play. So get your Vine Lashers now. Messed up.
This card also goes in every single assassin commander for Assassin's Creed.
True.
Yeah.
They gave the
spotted
lizards
it.
jobs.
There's also, it's not really a thing at the moment. There was a black-red lizard deck in standard for a while, and it was playing this as well. And while that deck is not anywhere on the map at the moment, were it to loop back around, you could easily see this get standard pressure.
I mean,
as
doming
well.
people for 2 with a land drop in standard
Yeah.
is a great way to deal those last 4 points of damage.
It's
This
a
is
one drop.
also-
Yeah, one drop lizard was important for Gav and all that.
This is a card I have played in Legacy in the last year. I have played it as like a thing that dome with 2 for fetch lands. You can offspring it. I've picked it up with Yuriko to offspring it again.
That's funny.
Card just does a lot of really cool things.
Yeah, there you go. And it's cheap. Iridescent Vine Lasher.
Corbin,
Check it out.
Corbin. Cheap implies a lack of quality. This card is affordable.
Okay, Michael Caffrey.
All right, and on that note, everybody, speaking of affordable, not cheap, it's affordable to support this podcast, which so many of you do at patreon.com/BSB, and we truly appreciated it because, as we can't say enough, it is the only reason we're able to make this show. So please, please, please go support us at patreon.com/BSB. We also want to give a shout out to our sponsor, MTGstocks.com, the best place for Magic financial information on the internet, where we go for all of our picks of the week and breaking bulks every single week. I also use it for Pokemon on the PikaStocks side. So check that out and check out the premium side of the website, MTGstocks.com.
3 sides.
This podcast may be affordable, but I promise you, I'm cheap. See you next week.